Wow. There we go. Can Stojalen please quiet down? Thank you. This meeting is set. Good evening and welcome to the ISFiT 2023 presidential election. ISFiT has established itself in Trondheim and around the world as a forum for discussion of socio-political themes of global significance. Tonight marks the start of ISFiT 2023. Every festival is built from the ground up, and it all starts with us electing a president to head the festival and choose a theme, as we will do tonight. My name is Jacob Åse, and I will chair this meeting.
And my name is Vela, and I will be the secretary of the meeting. The board proposes the following agenda. 1. Meeting is set. 2. Board's protocol. 3. Open lectern. 4. Introduction by ISFiT President 2021 Mathilde Enkerud. 5. Presentation of the candidates. 6. Questioning of the candidates. 7. Break. 8. Artistic performance from Strin Promenadeorkester. 9. Continued questioning of the candidates. 10. Break. 11. Closing statements. 12. Voting. 13. Results. 14. Extra additional questioning. 15. Extra additional voting. 16. Extra final results. 17. Singing new klinger. 18. Any other business. 19. Meeting feedback. And 20. Meeting is adjourned. Can Stojalen approve this agenda through acclamation? Thank you.
The evening will play out as follows. We will start with opening remarks from both candidates, followed by questions from the audience. After the questions, the candidates will deliver their closing remarks, and we will proceed to the digital vote. If one candidate receives over 50% of the total votes, we have elected a new president for ISFiT 2023. In this case, point of orders 14 through 16 will fall, and we will proceed directly to point of order number 17. If not, we will continue with the second round of questions before we have another vote. If one candidate receives over 50% of the votes in round 2, we will then have elected a new president of ISFiT 2023. If not, the board will host a new election at a later date. Before we move on to point of order number 3, I need to inform everyone that the southern bar is open and you can order at the bar. In addition to this, the restrooms are available through the doors at each side. The gentlemen will go this way and the ladies will go that way. You can follow the signs. We now move on to the point of order number 3, the meeting's open lectern, where we invite everyone to speak freely on a political subject of their choice. We ask all speakers to adhere to the given time and respect other speakers. Does anyone want to speak? No? Doesn't seem like it. We will then move on to point of order number 4, which is the introduction by ISFiT President 2021, Mathilde Enkerud. Please welcome her.
Oh no, I'm stuck. Okay, there. I have this lovely new mask, so it got stuck, but that's how it goes. Okay. Wow, good evening. This is an exciting day. My name is Mathilde, and I am the president of ISFiT 21 Creating Knowledge. So, it is now 2 years since I was elected here at the Student Society. At that time, I had never been a leader before. I had actually never even recruited another co-volunteer. And I was there starting to build an organization of 400 volunteers. And little did I know that we were going to create the world's largest international student festival during a global pandemic. But together with 400 amazing volunteers, we did it. So that's quite cool. We never know what we're going to experience as the president of ISFiT. There is really no right or wrong way to do it, and there's no certain way to be a president. I remember saying during my election that I will make mistakes. I can promise you that I did make mistakes. I am actually still making mistakes and still learning. There's only one thing that is true. No one is a fully trained president. So what we are looking for today is potential and engagement. I know how nerve-wracking it is to run as president of ISFiT. And not only right now for the candidates and the next hours, but also the hours and days running up to this day. Doing this and being here today already shows commitment, engagement, and not at least bravery. So I hope that we can give a big, warm, and loving applause for the two candidates running today. Tonight, we are together deciding how ISFiT 23 is going to start. I therefore encourage you to ask questions which will make us know the candidates better and know what their visions and hopes for ISFiT 23 is. And I also hope that you show respect and patience towards the candidates and we make them as good as they possibly can be. Today starts ISFiT 23. The start of 2 years, which will have a significant impact and an important impact on both students here in Trondheim and also all over the world, creating a festival where the voices of students are wanted and heard. I wish you all a great election and the very, very best of luck to the candidates. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Matilda. We now move on to the presentation of the candidates. And we've drawn the order for the presentations earlier tonight. And first up is Åse Håtveit. After you've given your presentation, you may take your seat. And please give her a warm welcome.
Ærede storsal, my name is Åse Håtveit, and I'm a member. First, I want to congratulate every ISFiT volunteer that made this year's festival possible. I am impressed and humbled to be a small part of this great team. After a different year, I see the importance of getting back to the core of ISFiT, and for me, that is gathering people from all around the world, from different continents, cultures, ethnicities, and backgrounds, to get to know each other. Through dialogue, we get closer to each other. And this face-to-face interaction is almost incomprehensible. In February 2009, Facebook introduced the like button, and the retweet from Twitter came quickly thereafter. Suddenly I had the ability to take a binary stance in everything from your grandma's morning post to the actually coup in Myanmar. How has this changed the way we communicate? Every year, the world of social media expands its ever-growing population. How will these echo chambers affect our ability to see the world with an objective view and open mind? Now you can find yourself swimming in articles and ads made by algorithms just for you. At the same time, our lives are becoming increasingly more busy, as fewer things in life have a black and white answer. Many of us feel the need for exactly that. A solid agreement or disagreement. Somehow, we lost the ability to not have a clear stance, and many of us feel the social pressure of having solid opinions on almost everything. Thus, polarization occurs in an increasing rate. When talking about polarization in the world, we more often than not look outwards. Could this inhibit our ability to see the world to see the increasing differences happening right here at home? Just last week, NRK posted an article where a scientist from Statistisk sentralbyrå, SSB, stated that the wage gap in Norway might be the double of the size we believed it to be. And the closest contender was the United States of America. I also read the other day an article in Aftenposten that stated that polarization might lead to something good. Because in this case, the theme was voter turnout during parliamentary elections, and that polarization caused a higher number of participants. So, why do we need polarization? And how does it affect us in a positive way? It's not all bad, right? For ISFiT 2023, I want to look more at how united we really are, and how our surroundings affect the choices we make every day. Many of us will probably say we are more polarized than we have ever been. Economic polarization, group polarization, gender polarization, political polarization, city-country, byland polarization, generation polarization. How does this affect us? Are we less polarized than we think? Do we need polarization? And who benefits from polarization? What about COVID? Are we more united or more diverged emerging this pandemic? Polarization is one of the biggest challenges we face today, and I believe ISFiT is the right platform to spark a change where it's most needed. Thank you, og godt valg.
Thank you so much, Åse. We now move on to the next presentation by Melchior Blum. Please give him a warm welcome.
Well, thank you. I think I speak for many of us present here when I say I was very disappointed when in the year 2015, all the predictions from Back to the Future did not take place. No flying cars, no waste energy generators, and nobody arrived on a hoverboard here today. As the promised future did not take place, society had to move on. And I think our appetite for those futuristic, glorious visions slowly died down. I mean, just look at the surge of post-apocalyptic Hollywood movies, where instead of sustainable futures, we are presented with zombies marching through a decaying skyline of Manhattan and having a lone survivor trying to get by. My point is, while in the past we used to imagine perfect worlds, utopias, something we could strive towards, today we lack this courage. Even we students, who are supposed to be at the front of change, even we are little encouraged to think outside the box. I mean, I keep hearing from friends when talking about global warming, for example, that we can't do anything anyways, that we humans just are built in this way, or that the government has to step in and do something. So we might as well take that cheap weekend trip to Barcelona. There's this famous book called The End of History by Francis Fukuyama, where he argues that with the fall of the Soviet Union, Western capitalist society will eventually take over, and there's nothing we can do about it. I think this is fundamentally wrong. I think we need to imagine, no, we need to dare to imagine perfect worlds again, utopias. And even if we don't reach them, let us do as good as we can, instead of just accepting the here and now. I think especially today, this is more urgent than ever. We have a global environmental crisis on our heels. And of course, countries do sit together, for example, in the Paris Climate Conference. And we do set ourselves very achievable and useful goals. But then again, it doesn't require a leap of imagination just to set the goal of avoiding +2 degrees Celsius, but keep the rest of the system literally untouched. I'm talking about the paradigm shift. What I want to achieve with my presidency and the theme, Imagine Utopia, is to create new ways we think and imagine the future. It should be cool again to imagine utopia, talk about it with your friends, and not get dismissed in a debate as a naive idealist if you do so. I want to encourage an optimism that sees the year 2050 not as a catastrophe. I want us to imagine together that in the year 2050, we are living in an ecologically sustainable, tolerant, fair, equal, just, great, utopian society. Not just in Norway, but all around the world. With ISFiT 23, Imagine Utopia, I want us to create an international dialogue, imagine and maybe even build this perfect world together. But this shouldn't just be my utopia. I want to give every volunteer and every participant a chance to imagine their very own version of what utopia means to them. Are you an engineering student? build the perfect energy solution? Are you studying economics? Plan a financial system that rivals ours? Architecture? Talk to me about the perfect living environment. Are you a musician, painter, or literature student? How can art play a role in shaping our imagination? Let's have workshops where participants from all over the world can present what utopia means to them. You see, there is room for rich discussion and numerous angles. ISFiT 21 showed what is possible despite a global pandemic. So this time, let's aim for the stars. I want us to imagine flying cars again, hoverboards, waste energy generators, with whom we can time travel. Together, let us imagine utopia. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both candidates for your presentations. Next up is the questions to the candidates, and the Board of Samfundet wants to remind everyone to ask their questions and give their replies in English. In addition, we encourage both questionees and the candidates to keep their statements brief. If you are present in the audience and wish to post a question, please send a mail to styre-talleste@samfundet.no. If you are watching this via the stream, you also have the possibility to post questions. Please use the Zoom link to enter the room, which is available both on Facebook and YouTube. There is also a form posted on Facebook and YouTube where you can write your questions. We encourage everyone to ask questions that will help Sosial make an informed choice. Each person is given 30 seconds to put forward their question to the candidates, and each candidate is given a minute to give their answer. Should someone wish to propose a change in the time given to each speaker, they are able to do so via the lectern or via Zoom during the meeting. Questions from the lectern and Zoom will be prioritized over the form. We will also publish a document with the questions that have been posted with the timestamp from the stream. I would also like to inform the audience that it is possible to propose your candidacy or bench someone else until the first vote is initiated, at which point the candidates will be set. I would also like to inform you of the fact that each candidate must propose a theme for ISFiT 23. Now I would like to invite Max Meinig to ask the first question, and Astrid Sofia Festøy may prepare their question. Åse will be the first to respond.
My name is Max Meinig, and I'm a member. I have a rather vague question to begin with. I'm wondering what dreams you have for ISFiT 2023. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Do you hear me now? Yeah, okay. The first thing I'm thinking about, and I believe there are many people here thinking the same thing, is to have a physical festival. That would be amazing. And just to create a festival where people actually can attend physical events, that would be a dream come true. Now in this, living in this digital world. But of course, there will still be people who cannot attend physical festival because maybe their countries don't have enough vaccines. So it is a dream for me as well to create a festival where participants can join on a digital festival and digital workshops and events as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this question. I think this question ties really neatly in with my theme, Imagine Utopia, which in my eyes is just another word for dreaming. And for me, really, the whole idea of having Imagine Utopia, or also ISFiT in general, is that we give a platform to everybody, be it a participant or a volunteer, that they can realize themselves and imagine maybe what utopia means to them, or what a perfect world, or what they want to imagine. And then ISFiT can serve as a sort of platform where those dreams, those imaginations are in a conversation, and hopefully we achieve some sort of resolution, or we might also realize that those opinions differ and can't be resolved. But I want, in my dreams, ISFiT is a platform for dialogue and exchange, and I think this is really neatly tied to dreams. Thank you.
I now invite Astrid Sofie Festøy to give their question, and Katja Brøholt may prepare themselves.
Hello, my name is Astrid Sofie, and I'm a member, and it's the first time I'm standing here, so I'm a bit nervous. I'm going to start off by challenging you on the theme. Since I've been head of the participant section, I was wondering if you could share 2 dream workshops regarding your theme. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, and I actually thought a bit about that. So, I mean, imagine again, I think the whole idea of imagination sparks so many different ways to work with that. And I mean, even though as a president, it won't be my task to do the very workshops themselves, I nevertheless have some ideas. For example, putting participants from all over the world together and let them imagine together, brainstorm how a perfect city looks like. And I think there would be many different assumptions or like underlining backgrounds involved. And this could be really interesting to see how this plays together. Or then maybe a different workshop would also be talking about a perfect political system. And again, I mean, Norway is a welfare state, and maybe somebody from, let's say, America or Southern America, Asia, has very different backgrounds when it comes to political understanding. So also seeing how those worlds fit together would be really interesting, I think. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Astrid Sofie, for that question. There are 2 main workshops that I would love to have in ISFiT 23. The first one is echo chambers in social media and the impact that echo chambers make on us every day. Because I would probably say that many of us have watched that Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix, and that is horrifying. So discussing this impact that social media has, that would be really interesting. In addition, I want hidden polarization in research, because I think there can be a lot of polarization in research as well. And that is because, well, when you're doing research here in the West, you will do research based on Western research, and the East will probably do the same, and that polarizes us. So that would also be a great theme for a workshop. Thank you.
I now ask Katja Brøholt to ask her question, and Signe Dahl may prepare, and also will be the first to respond.
My name is Katja and I am a member. What do you consider to be the benefits and shortcomings of your theme when you will be faced with actually implementing it in all the aspects of and throughout the entire structure of such a festival? Thanks.
Well, thank you. I'm thinking about implementing the theme as good as possible in the whole organization, as we did this year in 21, just to get everyone to explore the theme as well. I think there lies a lot of value in that. Just for me, I led the app team, and I was also inspired by the theme and how that could give another value and have some new inspirations for the app, and making that possible in other sections as well. I think that could be really cool to explore. Yes.
Yeah, so I think one of the huge benefits of my theme is that for me, Imagine Utopia is really an umbrella term. So in a sense, everybody can realize themselves in it and bring their own imagination forwards. And I think it's great as it's so flexible and can stretch to encompass so many different ideas of what utopia means to somebody. At the same time, I mean, that might be also its weakness if you want so, because if we have so many different visions there, it might be difficult to have a coherence, or I think it's very well possible, but we should make sure that we find a coherence and we don't just have like a rock with very different things that have no connection, but we should make sure that all those different visions that are realized within ISFiT should still operate under the idea of imagine and utopia.
Signe Dahl to give her question, and Ingrid Nordland can prepare. Melchior will be the first to respond.
Yes, hello. My name is Signe, and I am a member. Being the president of ISFiT also involves staking out a direction, not only for ISFiT as a festival, but also as an organization. So I wondered if you could say maybe 3 things that would be important for you to achieve through ISFiT 23. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will try to say 3 things within this minute. One thing for me that is really important, having been like a bit lower in the ranks in ISFiT, is having a really transparent organization. That even in the lowest rank, you always know what's going up and what is being discussed. I mean, of course, there will be some things where confidentiality is important, but just having a very transparent approach, and this might line into my second thing, was I really like having a very open-minded culture that also, you know, even though I will be the president and somebody, a volunteer coming at a later stage, that even though there are differences in competencies and so on, that we're still on a very like same level, and that those hierarchies are not going beyond the working relationships, and that we have a really nice integration. And at last, I would really like the sections that those are better integrated and have more communication with each other and social activities. And I mean, of course, now it's been difficult with Corona, but I would love to have more cross-sectional cooperation and celebration.
If I should mention 3 things that are really important for me, in this festival, first is being visible. I think that is important after we had experienced this digital festival. It kind of fell through that it was difficult to reach out to people, so being visible is important. And the challenge the projects. I want to challenge the projects now that we have a lot of new experiences. I think the projects can be re-evaluated and get to the core of each project and find out how we can do that in the best way. That is also a priority. And the last thing is create friendship across sections. This year I felt like, as a volunteer, I felt I only got to know the people inside my section. So having, just some thoughts about that as well, I think would be important. Thank you.
Thank you. Ingrid Nordland may now pose a question, and Pernille Andersen Klevstuen may prepare. Åse will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Ingrid, and I'm a member. My question is, how do we make ISFiT a more climate-friendly festival?
Thank you, Ingrid. I think that is a difficult question, because changing the fact that we need to participants to take the flight all over to Trondheim, that can be a challenge. But there are some things we can do. I thought about this ISFiT rail project. That is really cool. Maybe expanding the ISFiT rail to Central Europe, so we can get get participants from Germany or further down. Another thing we can do is to maybe have a green week in ISFiT as volunteers, just to challenge the way we are talking about the climate change and making it more climate friendly. Or maybe a day in ISFiT, actually, one of those 10 days where every event could include something about this. That would also be really cool.
Yeah, I think to begin with, I mean, bringing in so many participants from all over the world by plane sometimes, I mean, of course, is undeniably a huge footstep that we leave on Earth. But I have some ideas by which we might reduce that a bit. For example, I was thinking about the whole idea of ISFiT Rail. I mean, now it's one train from Oslo to Trondheim. But what if we make the whole idea of, coming to Trondheim with the train a bit more cool, a bit more adventurous? I mean, I remember I once took myself the train from Trondheim all the way back to Switzerland, and that was quite an adventure. And I think if, to begin with, we communicate that to the outset, hey, come to Trondheim with the train, that's part of the festival even maybe, that could both be a symbol and by itself have some impacts. And then also I think with going digital and maybe having some events that are both digital and physical, we could also reach more people without having a larger impact on the environment.
Thank you so much. Pernilla Andersen Klevstuen may now pose their question, and Edgar Tandberg may prepare. May the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Pernilla, and I'm a member. ISFiT 21 was a very different festival. And my question is, are there something or some of the new aspects that was introduced during this festival that you would like to bring into your festival? And are there some parts that you would rather have left behind? Thank you.
I think definitely. I think for all of us, we learned a lot in this period. Also to maybe communicate when there's no direct contact possible and so on. So I think we might keep some elements of those digital times and access or reach out to more people and make it possible to participate for more people. But at the same time, I really want to stress that it shouldn't be at the cost of a physical festival. And we should, with every event, evaluate whether the cost and benefit of, having a workshop digital, which will maybe only reach a few people, whereas for the people being physically involved, that's a huge burden. So we should really think where it makes sense and where not. But I would definitely suggest that this digital element, I think this will stay, and not just in the coming few years, but see how we can work with that and make it to an integral part of the ISFiT Festival.
Yes, there are actually a couple of things that I would like to take with me to the next festival. First, I know that they started the cooperation with the student society, Samfundet, pretty well, and I want to further develop that. Secondly, the thematic culture program. That was also really cool, and just to include the theme more than we're used to. I also want to have digital workshops and events, as mentioned earlier, because we don't know how the world is in a couple of years, and there will probably be someone that cannot travel to Trondheim. So creating ISFiT for them as well, that will be important. Last up, I think give more to the volunteers than we managed to do. I know due to Corona that was very, very difficult, but to give more to the volunteers will be a priority.
Thank you. Edgar, you may now propose your question, and Thomas Jedebo may prepare. Also will be the first to respond.
Hey, my name is Edgar. I'm a member. Pernilla took my question, so I'm a little bummed out. But I have something else. Let's say you were to pick a musical artist to express your theme. You have all the money in the world. You have a time machine to play here in Storsalen. Who do you think that would be?
Oh, I think that's a difficult question because I think my theme is more about uniting different cultures, different backgrounds, different music genres. So picking just one, that's pretty difficult. Yeah, but Aurora, I like her. She's good. She should come to ISFiT. Thank you.
Initially, I thought this was going to be a very difficult question, but then he mentioned we have a time machine, so it's a bit easier for me. I would definitely pick John Lennon, just because he has this famous song called Imagine, which is, I think it's a perfect song from a theme. He talks about imagination, he talks about a perfect world, so let's give him all the money, let's take a time machine and bring John Lennon to Trondheim.
Thomas, you may now give us your question, and Frey Elisabeth Hemstad may prepare. Melchior will be the first to respond.
Yeah, hi, I'm Thomas, I'm a member. So 22 years ago, ISFiT volunteers created the Student Peace Prize to acknowledge the work of student activists around the world. And ever since, the Student Peace Prize has grown, both in terms of recognition and activities within ISFiT. So my question is simple, it's what ambitions do you have for the Student Peace Prize within ISFiT 2023. And also I would like to ask the moderator if we can increase the answering time to maybe 1 minute 30 or something, because the 1 minute feels a bit short. I was asking if we can increase the answering time. 1:30 maybe, yeah.
Great. We'll increase the answering time to 1 minute 30 seconds per candidate.
Only for this question?
No, for all questions going forwards.
Thank you for the question. I myself haven't worked too much with the Peace Prize in ISFiT, but I think it's an integral part of it. So, I mean, I think on this I would clearly need to have some people also advise me or talk about it in more detail. So just kind of to begin with, a preamble, so to say. But definitely, I think we should, as always, use our resources for the Nobel Students' Peace Prize, and see what we can do. And I think also it can have integration within ISFiT as we have now, and share our expertise and share the resources, for example, with the social media team cooperating, or the video, or different general communication team. So I think it should have its place in ISFiT, and I think by cooperating together, we can definitely help both to increase the reach of ISFiT maybe, as I mean, people will maybe learn about ISFiT through the prize, but then again, also help push and promote the Peace Prize itself by using ISFiT's resources.
Yes, thank you, Thomas. I want to further develop by including SPP, Student Peace Prize, in ISFiT. But yeah, it's important to know that ISFiT volunteers are as much Student Peace Prize volunteers are also ISFiT volunteers, and that's important to emphasize. With that being said, it must be done in a way that takes care of Student Peace Prize interests and don't create new boundaries for them, because they're doing a pretty good job and what they do is important. So yes, we need to include them, but we cannot create new boundaries. I also thought about creating a new forum between communication and Student Peace Prize, like we have in culture and communication. I think that could work out quite well by having this forum doing new marketing strategies or something, just to have that communication and cooperation floating. Yeah, that would be good. Or maybe try something like that out. Yes, and last, I still want to include Student Peace Prize in many other sections like we did in the app. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Frey. You may post your question, and Ina Salvesen may prepare. Also will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Frey. I am a member, and I have a question for you guys. Seeing that we had quite an unusual year this year with a digital festival, how will you ensure that next festival, ISFiT 23, will run as smoothly as possible, seeing as the middle managers and the current teams do not have a regular festival running experience? And make sure that 500 students from around the world arrive here safely and stuff like that. Thank you.
Yes, there is one thing I want to do that probably will make this go smooth, as you said. I want to challenge the projects in ISFiT and make every volunteer feel like they own their projects more. And with that, I mean that we should re-evaluate them and let the middle managers and every ISFiT volunteer look at their projects and see, how can we do this? How can we do this in a safe manner? Many of us have just experienced a digital festival, so how can we create something safe, something physical, and give them time to think about these things, because it's important to have projects we can offer participants in a way that they actually feel safe to come. So I think that will probably make a smooth festival.
Definitely. I mean, having no experiences of a physical festival whatsoever, it will be quite a challenge of making the step back to hosting an actual festival here in Trondheim physically. At the same time, I think it could be a great opportunity as well, because it also allows to maybe rethink certain aspects or reevaluate if there are quicker ways to do things or more efficient ways and so on. Apart from them, like very idealistic talk I'm just been giving now, I mean also in practical terms. I've heard that there will be established like some sort of fodder system that members of the board and their presidency will be in contact with people that have participated before at the physical festival, which I think will be a greatly valuable asset and resource. So I think this will definitely help. At the same time, I've been thinking about something like almost like a job sharing system that always the board head and the assistant, but also the middle manager and his assistant would have, that the assistant would have more competencies and both would always be able to do the same job, which would both make us way more flexible and allow for a greater exchange of expertise, and also would ensure that all those people in those, as a head of a section, the middle manager, there's less pressure on them. And I think this also help to really advance forward and do the best as we can without pressuring people too much and looking for their welfare.
Thank you. Nina, you may ask your question, and Inga Magli may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Nina. First, I want to say you're doing great. And ISFiT, in many ways, is also a highly political festival. And you also have an opportunity to actually make a change or influence things with your theme. So I was wondering if you have any political goals with your theme, or what do you hope to influence with ISFiT 23? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I think definitely. Also with my theme, the whole idea of is it political or not is we should ask. And for me, it's a bit the idea of imagining your own utopia. It's, I mean, even though you don't even need to state it in explicit political terms, with every imagination of a perfect society or whatever, there's an underlying political assumption. So I don't think we will be able not to have political elements in there. However, at the same time, I wouldn't suggest that we, with my theme, have a very clear political direction. Rather, I would allow for the different volunteers to explore their utopias and explore what political underlying assumptions are in there. That being said, I still think at the same time, I mean, there are also some political values that I assume we all share. For example, climate change is real. So I think there are some certain, we could say, political aspects which there will be definitely within the theme, because I think that's the common ground for every dialogue we are having with students, I hope. And apart from that, I think that there is ample opportunities for volunteers and participants to also explore their own maybe politically guided ideas of what a perfect utopia means to them.
Well, having a political goal, I think my theme with polarization and taking a political stance with that theme is not my goal. That is not what I intend to do with the theme. I'm more about talking about how we are getting more diverged and discussing political polarization. That is one thing I want to do. Not taking a political stance in somehow. I want to challenge how polarization might have an effect on political sides. I mean, we've seen the election in the US and how polarization might affect that, how social media might affect that. So discussing polarization and how we are getting more diverged is much more of an interest than actually having a political stance with this theme. Thank you.
Thank you. Now Inga Magli may ask her question, and Håkon Faldal may prepare. Åse will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Inga Magli. I was wondering, as the president of ISFiT, what is your highest priority? Is it the volunteers or the participants? And please explain your answer. Thank you.
Well, I think I would probably say both, but having happy volunteers makes a good festival. So if we get volunteers to actually own their projects, and if we get them to personalize what they're doing and feeling like they're actually owning ISFiT, I think we can make a very good festival. And this year, many of us did a lot of work, but didn't get so much back, I think. So working with the well-being of volunteers, I think that will be one of my priorities. But of course, it's important to give a safe and inspiring festival for participants as well while coming to Trondheim. Thank you.
I think it is difficult to separate between those two things. Let me explain. I think ISFiT is built by the volunteers and it's driven by the volunteers. I mean, we don't have paid people to do the job. So having happy volunteers in the end makes a great festival and makes happy participants. So I think we definitely should make sure that the volunteers both feel happy and can unfold themselves, and that we give them a platform to build towards greater than they are and that they feel like building towards. So I think we should definitely not neglect the volunteers and give our resources that they can build something. And this again will lead to happy participants. So I mean, in a sense, you could even say by focusing on the volunteers, you're at the same time focusing on the participants. So I think both should be a priority, but the right way to do it, I think, is by focusing on the volunteers, that they create a great festival that will be great for the participants.
Thank you. Håkon Faldal may now ask his question, and Kevin Kristiansen may prepare. Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hello, Storsalen. My name is Håkon. I'm a member. Due to ISFiT this year being digital, there's a lack of experience in handling situations that occurs when participants from all over the world come together. There's cultural clash, there's different social norms. And by the time the ISFiT 23 festival rolls around, it'll be 4 years since anyone has had any first-hand experience in dealing with these issues. So how would you help the volunteers be ready to help participants who are new to Norway and new to other people from different cultures, and make the festival good for everyone?
That's a really good question, and I think a question we should ask ourselves, because that will be a challenge, I think. And I would like to refer back to maybe a resource we can use is this fodder system that will be established by drawing on the expertise of previous people that volunteered in ISFiT. At the same time, I also think we need to find other ways how we can achieve this. And a possibility might be, I mean, there's the source network with the different other students' festivals, and there might be a possibility to exchange some expertise with them. How did they experience having a physical festival again, where students from all over the world came and having this again after they kind of had a break with that. So that might be an option. Or we can also look to, I don't know, there might be different organizations within Norway driven by students or also all over the world that have made the exact same experience and had a festival before us after this Corona break. So I think both by relying on the fathers, but also by seeing if we can get expertise from outside or exchange experiences with other people or institutions in similar situations could be a way of approaching this. But then again, I think as with many ISFiTs, there will also need to be some room for improvisation, because I think all the time ISFiT is creating itself anew, so there won't be the solution that we just have to adhere, and that will be it.
Well, thank you, Håkon, for the question. This is a good question because, yes, there will be many volunteers who only experienced the digital festival this year, and not that many students who actually experienced the physical one. But even though we have this lack of experience, I believe experiences from previous ISFiT and resources that we have in those persons who actually experienced ISFiT will work pretty well. I believe everyone is eager to learn what have been done and how we can do better, even if we didn't experience that ourselves. So maybe having workshops discussing this with previous ISFiT volunteers would work out. Maybe having events just to get to know each other, get to know what kind of problems that is in a physical festival. I think that will. Yeah, I'm not scared of making a physical festival, even though I just experienced a digital my own, because I believe we have so many people that knows a lot of how what kind of problems that comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. Before Kevin asks his questions, I'd just like to remind anyone watching the streams that you are able to post your questions via the Zoom link, should you wish to do so. Kevin, you may ask your question, and Katinka Müller may prepare, and also you start.
Honored Grand Sale, pardon my English. My name is Kevin, and I'm a member. I was wondering if you have any specific organizational changes that you wish to implement in ISFiT 23. And by organizational changes, I mean changes that are not necessarily events or the theme. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. I have a few. Actually, is this on? Yeah. Okay. First, I think many of the sections have too large boards. So maybe merging a couple of projects to make the boards a bit smaller might help. So maybe research and coverage can be merged, and communication, and projects, say I want to move that back to participants from culture. And then culture also will have a smaller board by doing that. With that being said, I want to challenge the recruitment periods. And that is because I believe we can get more value out of having the right people at the right time. So not recruiting them by title, but actually when we need them. So, and every year we got the design late, so maybe take up the design early. We're already doing that in the OR section, and I know Student Peace Prize is also doing that. So have a look at when we need people, and taking out, when do we need to recruit them to make them have that time they need to make the best projects, to do their best. I believe that is what I want to do with the organization. Thank you.
I indeed have some organizational changes that I would like to propose. Then, of course, that would happen in conversation with the board and so on, but I'm giving my ideas now. So to begin with, I would like to have a more flexible hiring process, so we can get the people when we need them at the right time and not kind of predestined by some hiring schemes. So concretely, for example, I think having the marketing and design section earlier within ISFiT could help to kind of create a brand identity, spread the word earlier, and have a kind of common team to begin with, under which we can kind of gather. Then, as I kind of mentioned before, I would have the relationship always between the section head and the subhead, but also the middle manager and the middle manager assistant, be more like egalitarian, almost job sharing position, like that they could easily spring in if one should be sick or has a lot of stress and so on, which I think would make the organization as such a lot more flexible, and also keep stress of each and every volunteer, because I mean, after all, it's a volunteering position and we still have studies to do at the same time. And at last, I think within the communication section, it could make sense putting the social media and marketing section into one team, as that would allow for a more let's say, more comprehensible and streamlined marketing approach that isn't divided into two different categories. And also maybe even putting research and coverage into a section, as that would allow for closer cooperation between the magazine being created and also the research being produced and showcasing that research after all.
Thank you. Katinka may now ask her question, and Oscar Giverin may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Katinka and I'm a member. ISFiT is an organization with many volunteers. My question to you is, how will you ensure that ideas from the volunteers reach the board?
Thank you. Yes, it works. Thank you for the question. I think it's very important, exactly because I mentioned I want everybody to imagine their very own versions of utopia. So I think, of course, we can always trust let's say, the well-meaning of different members, but also think we should have some sort of systematized approach that all the volunteers be in the lowest ranks. I don't like talking those ranks categories, but volunteers at that aren't like in a board position or whatever, that they also have their approach to have their option to get the idea spread. So idea we could have is having a forum, having a forum where everybody can join and put in their ideas, and there's always a board member there, so we can kind of skip this hierarchical ladder and having moments, having options where direct communication is allowed, is possible. I think that could be a good idea, and I would definitely look into that more and seeing ways how we can ensure that, because I would agree this is a really important aspect to me, and I think we should really ensure that every volunteer's voice, no matter whether he's a president or a volunteer that's joined very late, can get their say and can get their inputs into the festival and the theme.
I think of two things that I want to do to help new ideas come forward. The first thing I've already mentioned, but that is to reevaluate the projects, but also give everyone a chance to think new. So I thought of maybe having a week where we all are putting on the green hats and thinking that no ideas are stupid, just to get people to talk and maybe have a presentation about the new ideas, or just a workshop where we could discuss this, so everyone get the chance to speak and to say what they're thinking. I think that having just a social event talking about this would be really fun. The second thing is maybe take a look at the budget weekend we're doing, because right now every detail is coming up to the board, and I don't think that is necessary. So taking the details down to each section board and letting them decide, and maybe just give them some approximate amount of money to make their own projects and figure out the details themselves. I think that will make them feel more ownership and be a bigger part of the ISFiT as a whole. So that is something I want to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go to the next question, I'd just like to remind everyone that you are still able to write yourself on the list to ask questions. And I now welcome Oscar to ask his question, and Bård de Kock may prepare. Åse will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name's Oscar and I'm a member. I'll ask the same question as I asked 2 years ago, because why not? So my question is, what do you think will be the most challenging part of being president of ISFiT 23?
That is a good question. Personally, I think that I have never been a volunteer at Samfundet, so I need someone in my board that knows Samfundet better than I do. But I believe if I got someone who does that, that would be great. And well, this COVID situation, that is going to be a challenge. Maybe not in Norway, but for other countries. So providing them something as well, I think that would be a challenge. Last thing is already been said here, but I want to mention that again. It's that volunteers that in ISFiT 23 probably don't have any experience in physical ISFiT. So I think we need to make something that makes going from a digital festival to a physical festival smooth, and helping everyone to understand what kind of problems will come up. Thank you.
As we talked about before a lot, I think the most difficult aspect will probably be to bring ISFiT back physically, with this lack of a whole generation of ISFiT volunteers, the whole expertise being lost. At the same time, I also think, there's still a lot of uncertainties involved. Oslo just went into lockdown again, or at least parts of it. And I could also very well imagine that it might not be such a straightforward path as we would like it to be, and there are more complications. There might be a virus mutation and so on. So I also think here we should be flexible and have a plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, just to not get caught by surprise when something like that should happen. So I also think a difficulty will certainly be living with this uncertainty until it's not an uncertainty anymore. And then at last, that's maybe more a personal thing, but me not being from Norway, I speak Norwegian, but I'm still not rooted in the culture here. I might not have the connection. So I think this will be a challenge for me personally, but I also think that could be gapped by having the right people in the board, by having the vice president, and having people that can make up for this lack, for this gap of mine, I guess.
Thank you. We will now take the final question before the break. So, Bor, you are welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, ærede sosial. My name is Bor, I'm a member. My question is about the relationship that the normal Trondheim student has with ISFiT and the relationship that the average Samfundet volunteer has with ISFiT. Do you believe those relationships should be better? If yes, how are you going to do it? If no, why not?
The answer is yes. And that is because, I thought a bit about that. And imagine you're a normal student in Trondheim and not an ISFiT volunteer. And for you, ISFiT is this festival taking place all 2 years for 10 days. And even there, you aren't that included. You aren't that much part of it. So I thought about how do we go away from that and how can we make it more inclusive. And what I felt could be a really valuable thing is focusing maybe more on the process and making that also an open process. How I want to do that is by having, let's say, more events that are open to all the students, not just ISFiT volunteers. Having, I don't know, be it parties, be it concerts, be it debates, having events in the off-season. One could talk about having them at Samfundet or renting other locations within Trondheim also to geographically spread it a bit. And having those events open to all, because first it kind of keeps the talk going about ISFiT. People realize ISFiT, that is something going on in Trondheim. And it could also maybe trigger the interest or trigger the attention of students that normally wouldn't have any contact with ISFiT. Maybe they see, that's a cool concert, I like this artist, let's go there. And at the same time, it's like two fluer med en, it's two birds with one stone in English at least. I tried. So having this, I think, would really help to boost the name and also to spread the word about ISFiT and make people see ISFiT is here. ISFiT is something in Trondheim that could be cool.
Well, I think we can work with the relations with both students in Trondheim and Samfundet, of course. When it comes to students, I think we need to work on how we see the projects as volunteers as well, because first you need to get the projects known within the festival. And when the project is getting noticed inside the festival, then we're starting to talk about it with other students. And when other students find out about all these cool projects, they started talking about it with other students again. So I think this is some kind of thing we need to work on inside the organization as well, to get all the projects up there and making them visible. When it comes to Samfundet, I believe we can work on the relations there as well, and keeping a good cooperation that is instrumental for making this festival happen. So maybe inviting them on events, internal events maybe, and having a clear communication, maybe by having one person who is always up to date with what ISFiT is working on, so it doesn't become a surprise every time we're asking for something. So keeping volunteers at Samfundet up to date in the technical sections is going to be important. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both candidates. We will now take a 10-minute break, which means that we will meet back here in 10 minutes at 19:20. And I would like to remind everyone that you are still able to enter the speakers list. Just send us an email or via Zoom. Also, due to the COVID-19 guidelines, we remind you that you are not able to socialize. So please stay seated if you're not moving anywhere. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are Sweden's Promenade Orchestra, and we come from Can I get some light here? Thank you. Yes, so last year, Students announced or tried to say who we wanted the Peace Prize to go to, but it was ignored. So this year, we try again. The list goes as follows. Number 1, the guy that says "hoppas smaka bra" on Sesam. He brightens up my day, and it's a really fun guy, and I bet he spreads a lots of peace on his free time. Number 2, John Dilleman. John Dilleman. Han har verdens lengste Dilleman. No more words needed to say. And of course, who can forget Bradman Sam? Number 3, he saves people. And 4, this is actually a serious one, Dalai Lama's brother, Big Fat Lama. He's actually the more talented of the brothers, but he never gets recognition. So yeah, that's our pick. So I hope where are the candidates? Okay, cool. I hope one of you, I can give you this list. Anyway, students play Bourbon.
I am fit. You are fit. He, she, it is fit. They are fit. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to students from another orchestra. That was great. We will now continue with questioning the candidates, but before we do that, I'd like to remind everyone that you can still announce your candidacy or bench someone until the first vote. And I'd also would like to revise a statement I made earlier. Should no new candidate announce themselves or be benched, and in case none of the candidates receive over 50% of the votes, we will not move to a second round of question. We will then announce a new election at a later date. Thank you. So, the candidates, please take your seats. Thank you so much. And then we will continue with the questions. So Ida Utmo may ask her question, and Håvard Næss may prepare. Also will be the first to respond.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. My name is Ida, and I'm a member. I also participated in ISFiT in 2017, 2019, and I'm really excited for ISFiT 23. And I was also a photographer this year. But I have a question that's a bit more personal. Do you hear me all right? Yeah? I wonder, what kind of leader are you? Are you a more supportive leader? Are you like the one with ambition? Do you get me? Yes. Good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question. I would like to say that I'm a positive leader, first and foremost. I love to have control, but that is kind of what a leader does. And I'm really interested in being approachable, so that people actually dare to approach me with their questions. I do not necessarily know every answer, but maybe I can tell you who you should talk to and have an answer for you. But being an approachable leader, I think that is really important to me, so people dare to ask questions and say what they have in mind for me. I would also like to inspire people and letting them know that they're doing a great job, because this is voluntary work. So letting people know that what they are doing is great and helping them doing their best, that is important to me as a person, as a leader as well. And also, I want people to know that when I say yes to something, I am in 100%. So I don't say yes to something that I don't know I can handle and can be a part of. Thank you.
I perceive myself as a very approachable guy, and I hope you perceive me that way as well. And I also think I am not like this stereotypical asshole boss. I'd rather be like a person that is loved than feared. I think most of us would like that. Anyways, so I think I would want to be, and I see myself as a very approachable and a very not like an authoritative guy. At the same time, I think, one of my core values or the way I go to the world is I'm very responsible-minded. So if I do something, if I stand behind something with my name, I'm always very keen on making it good and making things work. And if it's like 2 a.m. in the night and something doesn't work, I think I'm the first one who would be up and like, oh shit, we need to fix this, because that's what we're working on. So I think I combine those two things, which in my eyes are important. At the same time, I mean, that maybe goes in with the responsible part, but also as a leader, I would want to inspire, or like, in a sense, like not just be this funny guy, but also exude some sort of competence that people think, sure, he got this. And even if I don't know what I'm doing, that at least people look at me and don't panic because they think I know what I'm doing. So I think I would want to be not an authoritative leader, but responsible and inspiring, ideally.
Thank you. Håvard, you may ask your question, and Mathilde Enkerud, you may prepare. Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hi, my name is Håvard, and I'm a member. I got a question regarding recruitment, because an organization as ISFiT, it's nothing without its volunteers. And I'm wondering about what thoughts you have on how can ISFiT better recruit people and students, and also how can ISFiT be better at recruiting students that are not necessarily involved in anything else? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, I agree that the volunteers make up the core of ISFiT, so especially with recruitment, we have to look in there. And I think, I mean, a lot of it comes in my eyes also to marketing, or how we present ourselves to the outside. I mean, if we look at from the outside as a very, I don't know, political, serious organization that is all about work and there's not as much fun and party as at UK, I mean, maybe it could be an approach to say, hey, why don't we change our image a bit? Or, I mean, we don't need to change our core values, but just also exude to the outside that ISFiT is also fun, that it's a lot of fun being a volunteer at ISFiT. So I think a part of that would definitely come into how we present ourselves, and that could go hand in hand what I said earlier, having events all throughout the off-season as well. And then also in general terms, I mean, I think we could take systematic looks, you know, depending on what kind of recruits we need, and seeing what systems we need to exploit, for example, to having design people or marketing. Maybe it could be useful having stands strategically placed, not at Dragvoll, but at Gløshaugen at the design institution, or also using anti-news channels. That could be a thing we should really look into, and both think about our approach, how we want to be perceived, but also about the logistics of how we market ourselves best for recruitment.
Thank you. That's a good question, actually. To recruit volunteers, I think one thing that could be important is to explain how ISFiT is different from other festivals. And maybe many people or students think that ISFiT is the kind of festival that it's more serious because they heard that, oh, it's a thematic festival. And we start talking about organization, we start talking about uniting people, la la la. Maybe they think it's quite serious. So explaining to them, what is ISFiT? What do we do? What do we value? What are our goals? What do we challenge? That is important. And this could be done maybe by making a video or something. People are watching videos, maybe, or just not clicking into articles and reading them, but watching short videos of us explaining what makes ISFiT so special. I think that could do a good job. As well, as I mentioned earlier, recruiting the right people at the right time, like marketing, social media, getting the right people and getting those people to do what they can in the early stage. That would be a priority. And of course, letting every student know that you don't need any experience to apply. That's important. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the lectern is Mathilde, and after that, Amelia Vågen Ystebø can prepare, and also will be the first to respond.
I have to say, like Nina, you're doing really great. So yeah, so you know that. I want to ask you a question, because being the president of ISFiT, a really central part of the job is leading the board. What do you think is important when leading a board, and what do you think is the biggest challenges?
Well, leading a board of people who has a lot of experience can be a challenge because when I'm selecting my board, I want different kind of people. I want people with different backgrounds, with different experiences, and with different knowledge in different organizations. And that could be a challenge as well because many people may have an opinion of how things is done in the best way. And opening up a discussion about that and how we can create a safe environment for everyone in the board and figuring out how to work in a board the best way we can. That can be a challenge, but I think it's solvable by opening a dialogue, talking about it, and figuring out what we do, what do we want to create from this board. What kind of questions do we need to bring up to the table before it becomes a problem? And what good experiences does everyone have from other kinds of organizations and voluntarily work? That is also interesting. So, yeah, it will be a challenge to collect people with different backgrounds, but I think it would be valuable for the board of ISFiT as well. Thank you.
What would be very important to me, having members in the board, people I would work very closely with for over or almost 2 years, is that they share my enthusiasm for the theme. I mean, if somebody would apply and love ISFiT but say, this team sucks, I'm not sure how well that relationship would unfold. And also in a similar vein, I would really like them to be motivated to volunteer. I mean, I think that's a big given, as if you apply for a board position, you probably don't expect to do little. Then I also think it's really important that board members wouldn't be afraid to disagree with me, because I don't want to be a dictator. I'd rather be a person, you can be in a dialogue, you can exchange your things, and maybe they have way better ideas than me, and it would be a waste having them lost just because they're afraid of disagreeing with me. So by all means, I would want to have board members that are talking to me, that are telling me, hey, maybe that's something wrong you're doing, maybe there's a better way. So I think that would be really important. Then at last, I think also we should have similar expectations when it comes to the work or the volunteering relationships. So, I mean, if for me it's, hey, this is a thing where we give our passion to, or this is a thing where we use a certain number of hours per week, and if the other think, I can't, sorry, I meet a friend or something, I just think we need to be on a similar page of what it means to volunteer and what it means to be in that position in creating ISFiT as such.
Thank you. So there's been a slight change in the speakers list. So next up is actually Katja Brøholt. So please make your way down. And then Sophie Hjorthol can prepare herself. And Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Katja. I'm still a member. ISFiT is all about communication across cultures, ethnicities, countries, socioeconomic status, etc. And subsequently, this may lead to questions directed to you as a leader, but also as the speakerhead for a festival and a large organization about who you will be willing to give a platform. How far will you go to address your theme?
Thank you for that question. I mean, as I said several times now, I really think with my theme and with my presidency, I want this to be an open platform. So I would really welcome beliefs, ideas, imagination that come across the political but also cultural and so on spectrum. So I think I would be probably the last one that would be like, say, hey, you can't do this isn't working with that. But then again, I of course understand that there might be ideas, themes, topics that are very controversial and where maybe one needs to talk about, hey, do we want to support that and give that a platform? But also here I think that shouldn't be only my decision, but we should have some kind of voting mechanism, be that in the board or even on a lower level. and so that we can kind of democratically reach a decision. Even though ISFiT is very hierarchical, I think we need some element and not just like me deciding on what things to do. So I think, yeah, if necessity should arise, we should have some mechanism to ensure that we aren't giving a platform to, I don't know, Holocaust deniers or whatever you've got.
Well, how far will I go to address the theme? That's a good question. First, I think the theme is quite good when it comes to this topic because it's addressing how we are diverged and how united we are. So, talking about this, I think we're all possible of doing that. But it's a difficult question. It's up to the board, actually, where the boundaries are. It's not a one-man show, so it's not up to me alone. I need to have a board that supports me. I'm not doing this alone, so I won't be... if I'm doing something scary, I want the board to be with me on doing that. So that is important to emphasize. Yes, but I think this theme is good at actually addressing this and talking about how we are diverged. Thank you.
Thank you. So I now welcome Sophie to ask her question, and Edgar Tandberg may prepare, and also will be the first to respond.
Oh, I'm stuck too, Matilda. Hello, I'm Sophie, and I'm a member. This year I was a volunteer in the Student Peace Prize. And an important role of the Student Peace Prize is giving the winner a platform to share their stories and experience. And with the physical visits cancelled this year, the winner didn't get the chance to come to Norway and raise awareness on their situation the same way the previous winners have of ISFiT or on the Student Peace Prize. So I'm asking you to reflect on this and how you think you could include this year's winner of the Student Peace Prize into the next ISFiT Festival.
Thank you. Giving a platform for this year's Student Peace Prize, I think that could be done, of course. I think, that, again, this is something I need to take with the board. It's not up to me alone. But I believe we can do something like that, maybe by having some events around them, giving them a platform to speak about what they're doing and their influences, what importance, what they mean to the world and why we gave them the Student Peace Prize this year, and to give that opportunity is great. So it's a really good idea, actually. But I should talk to my board to get what kind of actions we can do. But yeah, I like the idea of giving them a platform as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a question I haven't thought about before, but I think is great that we think about that because I think that would be important. And also here, I would, as we start with ISFiT, I would be really willing to take on suggestions. But just reflecting now a bit with that minute I had, I think it would be great to invite them. I mean, it shouldn't overshadow like the winners of this year, but we can still invite them. Maybe nevertheless, having some tour to Norway, or also invite them for a debate at the festival, or for a discussion, for a panel discussion, and so on. On the other hand, one could, of course, kind of account for that by having something within the culture program. I mean, that could be having like a theme with, I don't know, things Turkey related or LGBT plus related, or having something that it ties in with them as a small knot of recognition, if you want. So yeah, I think they're both within the culture program, but also in a more, let's say, debates and panel discussions, so on. I think there are rooms that there are options, that possibilities that we can include them in this year's festival, and I think that's not this year's, in this festival, and I think that's a great idea, actually.
Thank you. Before we move on with the next question, at this point in the evening, the candidates have answered around 20 questions. We've now got another 11 questions in our list, so the board would like to propose that we shut new entries in the speakers list in 3 minutes. Will the Sosial accept that? Thank you so much. Edgar, you may now ask your question, and Signe Dahl may prepare. Melchior will be the first to respond.
Yeah, speaking of the Student Peace Prize, let's say I'm a student here in Trondheim who doesn't know anything about ISFiT. What is the Student Peace Prize and why is it important? Could you please explain?
Yes, of course. I mean, to begin with, it might seem random that the Students' Peace Prize is connected to ISFiT, as the Students' Peace Prize itself is elected on behalf of all the Norwegian students, and not just ISFiT volunteers. There's a reason. That is because the Students' Peace Prize was created by ISFiT volunteers, I think back in 1990. I'm sorry, my historic recognitions aren't the best. Anyways, and the whole idea behind it, was, I mean, you have the Nobel Peace Prize, which is this huge institution, but it is mostly people that have done peace works or have been active for a while. And it is never students winning that prize. And by having the Students' Peace Prize, we want to give students a platform, students that work with those critical things, that do important work in creating peace or a better world, or stand up for their rights, or create with the Metro-LGBT+, create a pride march at their university. So it's really, I think, a vital thing in giving recognition, also not only to the big players in peace work, but also to students, to people that are beginning, and kind of give them recognition and also help spreading their message all around the world.
So, Student Peace Prize, that is amazing. I'm impressed of what they're doing. I've not been a part of it myself, but Student Peace Prize is giving students who face challenges every day and does something about it a platform to speak, a platform to say what they're up against, and to give them opportunity and make them visible for the world. To to share their thoughts and ideas, and place a mark on what's on their agenda. When we are having Student Peace Prize here in Trondheim, there are quite a few things that is happening. One thing I want to mention is that we have this Walk of Peace in Trondheim, and that is really cool for a student to attend. We also are renting Olavshallen here in Trondheim to give out this prize to the one who wins the Student Peace Prize and gets the Student Peace Prize. And the ones who are actually finding out who wins the Student Peace Prize, there are not volunteers, but other people from Norway. So it's not just in Trondheim this is happening, it's all over Norway. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We now welcome Signe to ask her question, and Mathilde Enkerud can prepare herself, and also will be the first to respond.
Hello, hello. First of all, very great to hear your very good and reflected responses. I wondered if there is any question tonight that you haven't heard yet, but that you would have liked to be asked, and what would your reply have been? Thank you.
One question that I haven't heard tonight is what we're going to do to get hosts to Trondheim. That is a normal question to get you can get in this election. And I've thought about this, and it's a difficult one. But I got an idea from a friend who said you can create a task force. A hosting task force who is actually there to talk about participants who comes to Trondheim, and have this and have ISFiT visiting schools to get children to talk about it and visiting elderly homes, and just reach out to the society of Trondheim. And actually letting them know that being a host isn't about giving them food 4 times a day, but it's about giving them a place to stay. And they have a lot to do during the days. So just talk about it, having some campaign or something, having this task force, I think that could be cool. So to enlighten people that we need hosts and it's safe to have a student at your home for 10 days. I think that could be cool. Thank you.
There's indeed a question I would have hoped I would have been asked tonight. I mean, it still can be asked, but I'm taking it away now. So the question would be like, how would you include the culture program in your theme? And my answer to that would have been, I mean, if you think about Imagine Utopia, I think this is not only connected to, but on a very deep level, mediated, and created by culture. I mean, if you think about it, it is not a mathematic formula, for example, that sparks our imagination, but it's pieces of music, literature, poems, paintings, movies, whatever you've got. I think those artifacts, those cultural artifacts, deeply help us and shape the way we perceive the world and we imagine the future. So let us do culture, what culture can do best, imagine, and make the culture program an integral part of this ISFiT and the theme Imagine Utopia. So I would welcome artists, painters, musicians, all that engage with this idea of imagination, of how art can shape and create our imagination, or also how art is fundamentally based on what we imagine.
Great, thank you so much. Matilda, you may now ask your question, and Inga Magli may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Yes, I would like to get you to know you two a little bit better. So can you just tell us a little bit more about who you are?
Those are always those very deep questions where you struggle for an answer. So I mean, how should I say that? I can talk about what I like doing. Maybe that helps to get an image of who I am. So one of my hobbies, I think, is learning foreign languages. And I think that just is in a sense is really kindled by my quest to learn more and to open up new doors that maybe were closed to before. So I think as a person, I'm always very curious about the world around me and want to understand why things are as they are. And if I can't understand them, I want to know why. For example, it's like an anecdote. I remember like back in the days when the whole Crimea thing was with Russia, in the Swiss media, there was always Russia as this big enemy and so on, and everybody agreed on that. I was a bit curious, you know, what's the other side of the story? Why don't we hear anything from them? And so I started learning Russian a bit, and I understood more and more, and also in a sense I got to see the other side of the curtain. And I think that really helped me in a sense to kind of see that the world isn't that simple, but it's complex, and there's always another side of the story. So I think, to answer your question, who I am, I think I'm somebody that really wants to learn a lot and wants to understand why things are as they are and not just accept them at face value.
Well, yes, my name is Åse, as you probably know. I'm a student. I study computer science on my 3rd year, planning on having a master degree after that. I love music. I play in the wind band Nidarholm, if you know that. It's a trøndersk korps. And I am a substitute in Symfork, playing the clarinet there. I find that really fun. But I want to mention, I want to bring up a story because I've always loved working in teams and leading people. So in kindergarten, my team there, my group of people, they always waited for me before they started the game because they knew when I arrived that I would organize the game.
And that is pretty much me. I love organizing stuff, and I love creating things in teams, and I love just being around with people, having fun. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Before we move on, I'll just like to ask the audience about. Originally, our agenda said that there would be a second break before we finished the questions and continued with the closing remarks. I asked the audience if it's okay to skip that break and just follow through on the questions and go straight to closing remarks. Thank you. We will now take Inga Magli's question, and Emil Wengbo may prepare and also will be the first to respond.
Hi. If you could invite anyone in the world to attend the festival as a speaker at, let's say, a plenary session or a ceremony or other events, who would that be? And how important is it for you to have well-known international speakers to attend the festival? Thanks.
Well, thank you for that question. If I'm thinking big about polarization, I would really like to invite Mark Zuckerberg. But I know he's a popular human being. But I would love to have a kind of a history talk with someone like Frank Aarebrot. You know, that guy who has blah, blah, blah in 200 minutes on NRK. He's really good at having speeches. So someone like him to take the history side of polarization could be really cool. I would also like to invite Tina Saltvedt, if you know who that is Chief Analyst in Sustainable Finance in Nordea, to maybe discuss the economic side of polarization. I think that could be really interesting as well. Other than that, I think editors in newspapers to have a plenary session maybe with them to talk about polarization there and what they know about it, maybe political polarization, gender polarization. I find that for me, it's so many topics about polarization that I find interesting, so it's hard to pick one, but editors in newspaper, I think that would be great. Thank you.
If I had to pick one speaker, it should be a dreamer. And I think if we, I don't know, look at society today worldwide and look for dreamers, we can't come around one person, that is Elon Musk. I mean, he's a dreamer. He has plans of having, 100,000 people on Mars by 2050. And I mean, I don't know why. I don't know what the point of colonizing Mars is when we have our house burning, but whatever. He's a dreamer. So I think he would, in a sense, embody a bit the idea of imagine utopia, even though I guess his utopia would be very different from most of ours. And I think, I mean, again, having the theme imagine utopia, I want us to dream. I want us to make the impossible possible. So I think I will be the last person to discourage somebody off from wanting to find or invite a great person or like a big renowned speaker. So definitely go for it. At the same time, I think we shouldn't do it for the speaker's sake. I think if they're relevant, if they're dreamers, if they have something interesting, important to say, by all means, do what you can to bring them here. But don't just do it for the namesake, because I think that doesn't bring us anywhere as such.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Emil, you may now ask your question, and Frida Vige-Helle may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Yes, dear stor sal, my name is Emil, and I am a bit nervous, also a member. So I recently discovered that there are students in other cities than in Trondheim, here in Norway. And then I just wanted to ask, should we focus on promoting ISFiT to people outside of Trondheim in Norway? Why? And if yes, how?
I think that's a good question, which I haven't given too much thought either yet, so I think we should definitely discuss that afterwards as well. I mean, I think the question here, in a sense, is also, one could even widen it out a bit, and I think should we encourage more Norwegian students to participate in the festival? Because as I understand it, ISFiT has a huge international acclaim. People from all over the world know ISFiT, and it means a lot to them. At the same time, it seems to me that in Norway, ISFiT isn't such a household name as it might be other places. So I think it could definitely be we should, I think, have it more known in Norway, and maybe even encourage Norwegian students to come to Trondheim to celebrate and take part. Then again, I also get why it might be less exciting, because like, I guess for a Norwegian student, taking a trip to Rio de Janeiro might be way cooler than to Trondheim, which is like 6 hours by train. Nevertheless, I think there is an unexploited opportunity which I can't give any solutions right now, but we should definitely tap into that and see how and if we should make ISFiT more appealing to Norwegian participants, be it in Trondheim, also in whole Norway.
Well, that is a good question, but yes, that would be so fun to promote this festival to other cities as well. And I believe there are many students that would love to participate in this festival because it means so much. It's so important. But yeah, how to do that? Social media, of course, Instagram, Facebook, getting the marketing out there is important. Maybe stands on the campuses in other cities would work. If they don't know ISFiT and see an ISFiT stand, maybe they come and ask. That would be perfect. And yeah, maybe just attend this immatriculations at other campuses and cities as well could be an idea. But again, I need to take this up with the board, but I found that quite interesting and very fun to explore the options we have there, promoting this festival to other students as well, not only here in Trondheim. Thank you.
Thank you. We now welcome Frida to ask her question, and Astrid Sofie Festøy shall prepare, and the first response is Åse.
Hello. I'm Frida, and I'm a member. I was just wondering, why is your theme more important for 2023 and the future than your opposer's theme? Thank you.
Well, thank you. I really love my theme because it's the theme that don't have a platform. And I think ISFiT can create that platform to spark a change. I believe polarization is something, it is a word that many people have heard, but in the sense, well, while we're talking about political polarization, but there is so much more. Group polarization, that is when a group of people get together and collectively have an idea, that idea becomes more extreme than the actual individual persons. And this polarization affects us every day. Why haven't we talked about this? And gender polarization, economic polarization. I think people get to know how polarization affects how we behave and how rapidly things can change from quite a normal thought to a more extreme thought, only by having ads and articles made just by you. One other thing I want to mention is attitude polarization. That is super interesting. It's one effect from this confirmation bias, that we're all seeing the same, having the same base, having the same articles, but using them in different ways, so they can say something about our opinions. And this is scary. I think this affects us more than we know. So discussing this is truly important for this festival. So I believe the theme polarization would be perfect for ISFiT 2023. Thank you.
Why is my theme more important? Well, let's be real and look the reality in the eye. The future looks very dark for us, very dire. I mean, I'm not sure if like optimism is the most rational reaction to seeing what will happen to us. Then again, having this attitude itself, even though it might be the most rational one, I think it doesn't bring us anywhere. It leads to cynicism, it leads to contradictions. I mean, what always strikes me a bit is that on the one hand you have Norway, which is really progressive when it comes to, for example, having less fossil fueled cars. At the same time, the oljefondet of Norway is financing so much of that system. So I feel, I mean, this is one example, but I feel in very many aspects we talk about how great the future will be or how climate neutral things we will reach. At the same time, we do something very else. So I think this attitude, this idea of, you know, things are realistically looking bad, makes them bad. So I think only by having a optimism, which is maybe even a bit enforced, which maybe not come out of rational thought, only by having this optimism and imagine perfect worlds, something we can strive towards, only by having this shift of attitude, I think we are able to drag us outside of that hole or progress toward a more meaningful future.
Thank you. Astrid Sofia may now ask her question, and Fredrik Akre may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hi. My name is still Astrid Sofia, and I'm still a member. What fruit or vegetable would best describe your theme and why? Thank you.
That's a very random question, so you can expect a very random answer. My fruit would be a pineapple. Why? I mean, I don't know, looking back historically, let's say 100, 200 years ago, in today's society, or no, in society back then, those 200 years ago, a pineapple must have been so weird, like, you know, what is this? It looks weird, is this some kind of alien? And I mean, where are we now? We brought the pineapple even to Norway. It's even in winter in the shelves of the store. Other question, if it's ecologically useful, but let's keep that aside. I mean, we kind of, if you want, so the pineapple is your utopia, like something which is really strange, which you really didn't imagine that maybe exists, even less imagined that we would have that as a normal thing of our day. And here we are. Now a pineapple is I think everybody of us has tasted pineapple. Stupid question, of course. We all know pineapples, like, it has become something so normal. So in a sense, imagine the pineapple and, you know, all of a sudden the pineapple is a part of your life.
Okay, thank you, Astrid Sofia, for a tough question. Well, first I thought it was orange. That is because I love orange. And because you need the both outside and the inside of orange, right? For it to be good. If not, it's not a good orange. And well, there are so different. If you taste the outside of an orange, it's not that good at all. But if you taste the inside of an orange, it's quite good. So they are very diverged, right? All the rest. Yeah, that was the best I could do. Thank you.
Thank you. Fredrik Akre may now ask his question, and Tom Branu Carlsen may prepare and also will be the first to respond.
My name is Frederick and I'm a member. It's great getting to know you both. My question is, in your own words and from your experience, what is the purpose of ISFiT? Thank you.
Thank you, Frederick. For me, the purpose of ISFiT is gathering people. It's to get to know people. It's to get to know their backgrounds, how they think, why they think like they do, and get to challenge each other on our own ideas, own thoughts, the things that we thought might be the same for everyone, but appears that they don't. To getting people united, getting people understand each other, and work on friendships, create new friendships, and yeah, just get to know why we think like we do, and having stuff to do together, creating something together, and find the value of that. That is what I truly believe is so amazing with ISFiT. Thank you.
What I think is great about ISFiT is that ISFiT has the chance, unlike other festivals, that it can redefine itself every 2 years from almost the beginning. I mean, we can have different themes, we can have different strategies on how to have our festival, we can have different approaches and so on. So I think this allows ISFiT always to be on the zeitgeist, always to be on the edge of what's going on, of what's new. And also, as it is driven by students, I think this really allows the festival to bring in new ideas, to try unconventional routes, to take the path less traveled. So, I mean, for me, ISFiT is essentially a platform where we can have dialogue and also shape how we, as volunteers, as participants, want to perceive the world. And this doesn't have to stay with the volunteers. I mean, imagine a participant participating in ISFiT, and then he goes back to his home country and he talks with his friends, and he has that very forming experience, and he spreads this to other people. And you also know, maybe one day he's a politician and he has this ISFiT experience with himself that might have changed the way he sees the world, and also has a different policies now. So I think essentially ISFiT is a platform like, I don't know there's any other like this, that allows to give people new experiences that they can bring to the world.
Thank you. We now have the next question from Tom. And next in line is Lisa Tulin Lien, who may prepare. And Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm a member. Despite all the efforts of ISFiT 21 to reach out to participants about the reoccurring changes, I still believe we lost quite some followers, and the final impact might not have been as lasting as a physical one. Keeping this in mind, as well as the 4-year gap between the physical festivals, how do you plan to remind the international student community that ISFiT is a grand experience you don't want to miss? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and I also think this question really hits a nerve, because that's the thing we have to do. I mean, I think on the one hand, things hopefully will take a big care of itself as, let's presume, things open up again and there's chances to travel. I think we'll find many people that would love to travel again, and I mean, be full of joy for traveling and apply and come to ISFiT. So I mean, a bit, you know, I think we can even score some points by just saying, hey, we're ISFiT and we're back physically. And I think this really might be not enough, but that might be a great already approach to solving this issue. And at the same time, I think social media is vital here, because that's our main resource on how we reach international audiences. So I don't know, I think we could, as I mentioned before, even in the whole process of creating ISFiT, having a more inclusive approach, maybe reaching out to not just people within Trondheim physically with events, but also have a more outreaching approach on social media, and trying to find people's thoughts, or like make them have suggestions of the potential participants and involving them in the creation of ISFiT.
Yes, how to remind them that ISFiT is something they don't want to miss. That's a good question. But I believe we need to say that during this pandemic, we are more diverse than we have ever been. We are more locked up than we have ever been, and uniting people, gathering people, and doing what we can to get to know people again, to see people, actually meeting people. That is really important for both the health and giving out the Student Peace Prize is a super important project. And we're still here. We still want to make a change. We still want to get to know people from different cultures. We still want to create friendships and have important discussions, have important plenary sessions, and yeah, ISFiT is so important. We cannot lose them, and we need them to know that. And actually using this theme as well, where we can go back to the core of ISFiT, to unite people, to talk about how polarized we are. That is also something I should bring up when discussing this, and use the theme as well to say how important ISFiT is for the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa, you may now ask your question, and Kjell Pettersen Synstad may prepare and also will be the first to respond.
Hi, my name is Lisa and I'm a member. What do you think will be the biggest challenge regarding your theme? Thanks. Biggest challenge regarding your theme? Yeah.
There are two things I'm thinking of that can become a problem when it comes to my theme. The first thing I mentioned earlier is about when I say polarization, people are saying politics. And yeah, that is true. That is what we're hearing from the United States, for example. But polarization is so much more. So what can be a problem is to get people to know that we're not creating a festival that only is discussing political matters, taking up the political view of polarization. It is so much more. That could be a problem. Another thing is that polarization is about how united we really are. And discussing that, when I was talking about this attitude polarization previous, this could be a problem to getting people to talk about something, having the same kind of base, but looking at it in different ways. That could be a problem, but I also think it would be a fun challenge to challenge each other about this, to challenge each other of having different views on the same topic with probably the same base, the same articles, the same research. But yeah, that could be a problem as well, but I also think it would be a fun challenge. Thank you.
I think I mentioned something like before a bit, but I think it could be, or a challenge could be to make the whole thing a bit cohesive, and it appears that it's super different random things that people imagine, but having the common theme of imagine utopia. I think one potential challenge could be, but also a challenge that could be solved, is that we engage everybody, that we don't just have like, you know, one canonized version of what we feel utopia is, and everybody thinks, yes, this is great, and that's over. We have one utopia, but include this diversity and capitalize on it. Yeah, I think those things are very important. And also at last, I think we should also be critical maybe to the idea of my theme, because I mean, you can also use a utopia to do something bad. You can say utopia is very intolerant. So what? It's still a utopia, but I wouldn't support that notion of an utopia. So we also have to be critical of the very idea, and maybe even have a workshop or have a thing in research that critically engages with the whole idea of that, and not just naively imagine utopia, but imagine utopia in a reflective way, even though that's an oxymoron.
Thank you. Kjell may now ask his question, and Tushan may prepare, and Melchior will be the first to respond.
Hi, my name is Kjell, and I'm a member. I want to know more about your personal motivation for this presidency. So, why do you want to become the next president of ISFiT? Thank you.
I think my answer will be twofold. On the one hand, I think I'm personally ambitious, or I like creating something. I like helping people create something, and I really like building up something. And I mean, I think ISFiT is also the perfect platform a bit to feed that ambition of mine, maybe. At the same time, also, I really burn for my theme. I really live for it. I think that would be a great team, and I would love to realize that or help people realize the theme. I also think if it would just be for me without having a theme, I wouldn't be here tonight. So I also think the theme is a vital thing, and I really would love to see the theme and also see all the challenges overcome, hopefully, and all the dialogue that happens around this theme. I think that's a way larger motivation for me than the first that I just mentioned. But yes, so I think those two aspects are part of why I'm here tonight and talking to you.
First of all, I want to say that I love working in teams. That is one of the main reasons why I love working as a volunteer in general. When it comes to running for president, first when I heard of it, I didn't think of it as an option, but then someone told me, yeah, you can actually do that. I was like, serious? That is so cool. That is really, really cool. And to get the opportunity to represent something important and something big as ISFiT, that is quite, for me, it sounds like the best job ever as a student here in Trondheim. I mean, yes, the studies are pretty cool as well, but we're gonna work the rest of our lives. Doing this, what we're doing now, that can be done now as students, and being a part, taking the role as president, being a huge part of ISFiT, that sounds like just a dream come true, to say it like that, yeah. So, yeah, working in teams, creating something together, creating something that could make a change, and talk to people from all over the world, and probably make some changes there as well. That is what inspires me by taking this job. Thank you.
Thank you. We have now arrived at the evening's final question from Tushan, and then we will move on to the closing remarks from the candidates. Tushan, please ask your question.
Hi, my name is Tushan, and I'm a member. I feel kind of bad now because it's a pretty dumb question. Could you present your themes again, but this time in the form of a rhyme? Yeah, rhyme.
A rhyme?
Rhyme. Yeah, rhyme, like in rim. Like Tushan, Brushan.
Sorry, also is the first to respond now.
I will do my best, only for you, Tushan. Well, okay, rhymes in English. Polarization is very important. And I think you need to know that too, because getting to know every topic, I would like to hear that from you. Thank you.
Even though I should be in advantage now, having had some more preparation, I really doubt that, so I'll give it a go. I'm here standing tonight with my theme, Broja. My theme is let us together imagine utopia. Because if we have those realistic dark visions of the future, that doesn't really help. So let us no longer on them dwell. I am not here tonight to show my wiener, but I have a dream, so I'm a dreamer.
Thank you so much, and thank you to each one of you who have asked questions tonight. As I said, we will now move on to the closing remarks, and we will do that inversely from the opening remarks. So first up is Melchior.
Imagine. ISFiT 21 has put all of us in front of great challenges. How to run the largest international students festival with a global pandemic going on. Thanks to the great leadership and the amazing work of all the volunteers, we were able to set a new festival on its feet that has not seen before in this form. Congratulations. But despite this success, ISFiT 23 will throw us in front of a great deal of new challenges. We now have a generation of ISFiT volunteers, including me, that has had no experience with hosting a physical festival. This inevitably begs the question, how, just how, do we make the step back to a physical ISFiT? Well, imagine. It's easy if you try. ISFiT 23 will deeply resonate with the theme, Imagine Utopia. We, the new generation of ISFiT volunteers, we can't look back on the last festival for how to do things. No, we will have to look forward. We will need to be creative. We will need to imagine. Therefore, I propose, why not imagine the perfect ISFiT? A utopia of a students' festival. Will it be perfect? Certainly not. But let us aim for this goal and do as good as we can. Imagine living for today. With no experiences of a normal ISFiT, creating a festival can be quite a challenge. But then again, as you may have realized, I'm a dreamer, so let us turn this around. With no experiences of a normal ISFiT, we are unburdened from old habits and can create our very own ISFiT in the here and now. Let us together rethink what aspects are important to us, how we can achieve our goals more efficiently, or even what we can keep from 21 going digital. Let us appreciate this new beginning as an opportunity. Let us imagine our perfect ISFiT together and strive towards creating it. Let the people say we are dreamers, but let us hope we're not the only ones. Let us hope they will join us. As by giving a platform of global dialogue and exchange, ISFiT will once again challenge our assumptions and the way we think about the world. Thank you. Tusen takk og godt valg.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up is Åse.
Okay, so why polarization? It isn't just some political debate in the US, but a global issue more than capable of rocking the most solid democratic pillars of the world. Discussing polarization in the broad sense is important, but even more so, bringing it close to people. And actually figure out how small influences might lead to rapid change in behavior. One of the best ways to find polarization is to enlighten people before it becomes a problem. And actually, because if you know how all the little things can affect how you view the world, then we are heading in the right direction. ISFiT 2023 has the potential of being something new. I think we need to be brave, positive, and challenging. We don't know how the global situation is in a couple of years. This year's festival has proven that the voice of ISFiT still gets through in a world of chaos, and that is truly inspiring, and that is why I'm standing here in front of you today. As president, I want to challenge the projects we have in ISFiT. In my eyes, ISFiT is a sum of many fantastic initiatives. I think this is the right time to reevaluate them and be open-minded, seeing that the world is rapidly changing around us. In my time as president, I want to nurture and evolve our projects to their fullest potential. I really think this is one of the best and most direct ways that volunteers interact with the festival. Their inspiration and personalities is what drives ISFiT. Shortening the road from having a new idea to seeing tangible effect will make volunteers feel more ownership. This is really important to me because it's the volunteers who make this festival. Being here reminds me of the importance of samfunnet regarding ISFiT. Being good partners and sources of inspiration to each other is a powerful tool that I think can be exploited in a much better way. Samfunnet is instrumental in making this festival happen. Keeping our good cooperation and having clear communication can be more than just a necessity, but a benefit for both organizations. This is something I really want to develop. I am ready to work for you. I want to do what I can to make volunteers feel like they are being heard. I want to make a festival where participants are taken care of, such that we can offer a safe and inspiring environment. Of course, I'm new leading a group in the hundreds of people, but I have no doubt in my mind that you will help me make the best ISFiT to date. Many problems in the world are incredibly difficult to solve. War, poverty, and climate change, to mention a few. I, however, believe that polarization might be solvable by enlightenment. ISFiT is the perfect platform to open dialogue about polarization when we can make a change. Thank you, og godt valg.
Thank you to both of our candidates, and thank you for an informative and challenging evening, no doubt, and I hope Storsalen will join me in a big round of applause for both our candidates. We are now getting closer to the vote, and since it's digitally, we have Magne Halvorsen from ITK to walk us through the process of digital voting. Please welcome him to the lecture.
Hello. We're now entering digital voting. In order to vote, you need to have a valid membership. That is, you have to have paid your membership fee. Your membership must be registered at medlem.samfunnet.no. You must be able to log in at this address in order to vote. You log in with your email address or with the card number on your red membership card. Please check that you are able to log in as soon as possible. Further details can be found on samfunnet.no/valg. Unfortunately, this information is only available in Norwegian. If you have any technical difficulties, please contact the IT commitment either via my colleague over there or send an email to itk@samfunnet.no. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Magne. The vote will be open for 10 minutes, and before we open the possibility for voting, I'd like to remind everyone that in order for us to elect a new president for ISFiTs, one candidate must receive over 50% of the votes. Should no candidate receive over 50% of the total votes, the board will host a new election at a later date. The vote is open from now and will be open for 10 minutes until 2052. A result? Do you hear me? Great. We do have a result, and Veko, could you please project the results? So the next president of ISFiT with 60% of the votes is Åse Håtveit. Congratulations.
Oh shit, I don't know what to say. Oh, this is so incredible. Thank you so much for believing in me and in believing in the theme. And yeah, just, shit. This is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to start working on ISFiT 2023. Polarization? Yeah. I think that would be so much fun creating a physical festival, hopefully creating some digital events for those who can't be here as well, and just starting the work with the next festival. I'm looking so much forward to it and spent 2 more years with ISFiT. That will be very good. So cool. Oh, thank you so much.
Congratulations, Åse. You will be a great president. There are no major events happening at Samfundet without us singing Now Klings. So that's exactly what we will do. So please welcome to the lectern, Signe Dahl, who will be our lead singer.
Congratulations, Åse. Okay. Klinger igjennom den gamle stad på ny en studentersang. Og faller man alle i rekker og rad synger opp under begerklang. Og følgerne våger i køya og hører den glade kang-kang. Synger alle mann, alle mann, alle mann, alle mann, alle mann, alle mann. Studenter i den gamle stad tar vare på byens ry. Husk på at jenter, øl og dram var kjempernes meny. Og faller i alle mann alle, skal det gjalle fra alle mot sky. Lakke byen for ro, men la den få merke det en studenterby. Og øl og dram, og øl og dram, og øl og dram, og øl og dram. I denne gamle staden satt så mange en konge stor. Og hadde nok av øl og dram og piker med sitt bord. Og de laga bølger i gata når hjemmefra gilde de for. Og nå sitter de alle mann alle i Valhall og traller til oss i kor. Studenter i den gamle stad tar vare på byens ry. Husk på at jenter, øl og dram var kjempernes meny. Og faller i alle mann alle, skal det gjalle fra alle mot sky. Lakke byen for ro, men la den få merke det en studenterby. Og øl og dram, og øl og dram, og øl og dram, og øl og dram. På Elgeseter var det liv i korostere dag og natt. Tjohei! Der hadde de sin kagge, og der hadde de sin skatt. De gjallet i børene datte, og rullet og tullet og datt. Og nå skuer de fra himmelen ned og griper sin harpe fatt. Studenter i den gamle stad tar vare på byens ry. Husk på at jenter, øl og dram var kjempernes meny. Og faller i alle mann alle, skal det gjalle fra alle mot sky. Lakke byen for ro, men la den få merke det en studenterby. Og øl og dram, og øl og dram. Og øl og dram, og øl og dram. Når vi vandret hen og staden hviler et øyeblikk, da kommer våre døtre og tar opp den gamle skikk. En lek med studenter i den gamle gata var på byen si. Husk på at jenter og drømmer kjemper mest med mi. Og faller i alle mann alle, skal det gjalde fra alle mot sky. Lakker byen for ord, men la dem få merke det være studenter i.
Great. We now move on to point of order 18, which is actually called any other business. Maybe there's a better translation for that. We haven't found it. There's also if you have anything to say here, you can also enter via the Zoom room as you could to post any questions. The Zoom room is still open and the link should function. So we should just wait a couple of minutes, maybe a minute, to see if anyone has anything to say. And while there's silence, I'd like to... oh, sorry, Matilda is there. Oh, sorry. Matilda, please.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of explanation before I start. So this is the point where you can congratulate the winner. To do so, you will need to send an email, if I understood correctly, like you did earlier to samfunnet at something, which I wrote wrong the first time. So don't do that. So send an email, and then you get the possibility to say what you want. Then I'm stopping explaining. I need to find Åse. Wow, congratulations. I think this is going to be truly amazing. I'm looking so much forward to get the possibility to work a little bit with you before you set on and create this amazing festival. And I also want to thank Melchior for doing this today. It was really, really impressive. And I just want to say, great job. And maybe we can see you in ISFiT 23. So, congratulations to you, Åse. Enjoy the evening, and wow, this was an amazing election.
Next up is Karin Mjør, and then we have Fredrik Aker after that.
It's great because I can speak while I do this. I would like to, on behalf of the board at Samfundet, I would like to congratulate you so much. You did a great job, you both did. We wish you the best of luck in the time to come. So, congratulations.
Next up is Fredrik, and then we have Kevin Kristiansen.
Yes, wow. Congratulations, Åse. On behalf of the next board of here at Samfundet, I'm very much looking forward to working with you. And congratulations again to actually both candidates for a great night. It was really fun, and yeah, I'm really happy for the future of ISFiTs. Thank you.
Next up is Kevin, and then we have Arne Norumquista and Boer de Kock. So, yeah.
Yeah, on behalf of the Hammerlaug, or the Hammer team, congratulations.
Next up is Arne Norumquista and Boer de Kock, and then it's Max Meinich.
Okay. Yeah, hi, my name is Ane, and I'm the leader of the theater group.
Yeah, and my name is Boer, and I'm the leader of the orchestra at Samfundet.
Yes. And on behalf of, wow, my English is non-existing. On behalf of the people in our groups, congratulations so much to you, Åse.
Yes, and we also want to invite you to cooperate a lot with us in the future that's to come. There's a lot of art in this house, and it always wants to get out. So on the road to ISFiT and at ISFiT 23, we really hope to come cooperate with you and your team.
Yes, congratulations.
Next up is Max Meinich, and after that we've got Frey Elisabeth Hamstad.
Hello. On behalf of UKA and UKA 2021, I would like to congratulate you also, and also thank you, Melchior, for participating today and running for president. I look forward to working with you also, and as Mathilde hinted, possibly you too, Melchior. I hope we can have the same sort of fruitful collaboration as I have had the pleasure of having with Mathilde. I know there is a lot to do in the beginning, but as the leader of the other festival here at Studentersamfundet Trondheim, I would like to invite you to contact me if there is anything that you're wondering. And congratulations again. Thank you.
Next up is Frey, and then we've got Pernille Andersen Klevstud.
This was very exciting. Congratulations, Åse, on behalf of communication. Woo! You mentioned us a lot in your little speeches, so I thought I would say that, you know, come and talk to me, and we'll figure something else. And also, Mel, good job. Good job! And also, a sneakle behalf on Fotgjengen. Congratulations, Åse.
Next up is Pernille, and then we've got Tushan.
Hey, my name is Marcus, and I'm a member.
Hello, my name is Pernille, and I'm also a member. And we have also had the pleasure of being the leaders of organizational resources in ISFiT, where Åse has been a member.
Yeah, and I've also talked with Åse for this election, and I'm really confident that we have chosen a really, really good ISFiT president for ISFiT 23.
And we just want to say that we're so proud of you. Congratulations, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm applying for driver in August 22, so if you can get me recruited, that would be super nice.
Next up is Tushan.
All right, congratulations also from Culture. Very good job, and a good job to Melchior also. We will now present a rhyme. Congratulations also.
You rock.
ISFiT 23.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to say something at this point in time? No, it doesn't seem like it. We'll then move on to the next point, which is meeting feedback. Is there anyone who'd like to say something here?
Great job!
Great, thanks. Great, so we'll move on to the closing stages of this meeting. I want to thank the following for helping us make this election possible. Stiftelsen ISFiT, ISFiT 21, Stridens Promenadeorkester, Forsterkerkomiteen, Regi, Videokomiteen, Studentmediene, Markedsføringsgjengen, ITK, Rådet, Kulturutvalget, Fotogjengen, The Security Guards, great, Vertskapet og Kafé- og serveringsgjengen. The meeting is adjourned. Before you leave. Are we there? Great, I'm back. You can't silence me just yet. Before we leave, we do have some logistical pleas. So we need everyone to maintain distance while leaving. And so we'll start by emptying the floor, and then we'll empty the quadrants from this side until this side. Thank you so much for tonight. Have a great evening.